Alrighty, welcome everyone. Today I'm sitting here with Jerry Guerra. Jerry joined our program as a student just over a year ago, a year and a few months, and has had a incredible transformation that's super inspiring and is incredible proof of concept of what you can do and how you can change your life when you leverage this income system and do things the right way. So, Jerry, thank you for taking the time today to chat, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, my pleasure, Andy. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that you joined us in June of 2023, right? So it's been a year and a few months.
Mhm.
Prior to that, did you have any experience with trading?
I did have a little bit of experience with some option trading, so I knew a little bit of the lingo. And this was like I want to say around 2004 to around 2007 or so. I enrolled with a company called Invest Tools, which I believe is now out of business, and they use like some indicators and they had some options training and some coaching and stuff, and it was a pretty good program. But I never could seem to dial it in, and they didn't have a risk management system, which was when you'd have wins, you would have these amazing wins, but when you have losses, it was all of it was gone. And like the way they would advertise it wasn't necessarily bad, and I'm sure it did work from someone. I just wasn't one of the success stories with that company.
Got it.
And they so to answer that, like I did have like an idea of what the deltas were and what some of the Greeks were, and I wasn't like huge on it, but all in all, like when the market collapsed in 2008, I think it was like October of 2008 when it all fell apart. Um, like I was in some open positions and they were swing trades. It was nothing like the Graystone system, and I just got my butt kicked really bad with it. And at that point, like I think I had started an account with like 20-ish grand or so, and I had it up to about 40 grand, and it would go down to 30 and up to 25 or 35, and it was just this constant flex. But it never really, I never could make it work the way they would.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was probably just some of my age and my headspace at the time with it, Andy. And when the market collapsed, like my whole account was gone like overnight, pretty much, and with
Wow.
no risk management in it. So I just kind of wiped the books with it, and I was like, you know what, I'll this isn't for me at the time, and I kind of walked away from it. But deep down inside, I always knew there was a lot of money to make with options, but I also knew that there had to be a clear system to use that would preserve the money you would make with it, if that makes sense.
Right. Right. Okay. So you traded for about 3 years in the early 2000s, so a long time ago, and it was largely based around indicators, it seems,
100%
and
was.
and then no risk management, right? I think those are the two things. Those are the two things that are most common with anyone who's trying to make money in the stock market. And so, those are the exact reasons why we use a system that focuses on the two things that most normal people, non-hedge fund people, not Goldman Sachs, not BlackRock people, are doing to try to double their money overnight, to try to double their money in a week or a month. That's what they're doing is they're relying on indicators and scanners and all these things. And then there's no risk management, like you said, to protect profit that you're earning, to protect your downside risk. And so
Mhm.
you learn that lesson early on. So what is it that led you to start looking back into making money with trading?
Yeah, so I had when I had seen it in 2000, I've seen your ads on Instagram several times. Like I seen them sometimes. I want to say like around April, around May, and I was on a spearfishing trip in 2022, and one of the guys that I had met there, and I was in East Africa, like in Zanzibar area, spearfishing, and the one of the gentlemen had went in on this like 40,000 acre farm, and they were selling out sections of this farm in Namibia, and I had went in on it, and I had bought a section of 1,200 acres in Namibia, and with the ultimate goal of working remotely and trading, not necessarily trading at this time. I didn't know. I knew of Greystone, but I wasn't in Greystone yet. And
Okay.
so my goal was is to figure out how to work remotely and run my spearfishing company from there. And fortunately, I've had some good employees, and I was able to get my spearfishing shop on 90% on autopilot. So it's just managing the some of the days to days. I've got good employees and a good team behind me. There from nothing more than some hiring strategic people and just a little bit of luck with that, right? So that was working well, and I was on this trip, and they offered me a really good deal on 1,200 acres of land on part of this farm project in Namibia that's I'll eventually turn into like a vacation home, a retreat kind of thing, getaway, where I can access spearfishing really easy and some land hunting and some stuff like that. And it's a massive, massive, massive project. So to fast forward through that, I was like, I would love to be able to figure out how to supplement a little bit more income with my dive shop. And I kept stumbling across your ads. It was like they were following me and tracking me, which which is somewhere between like absolutely amazing and creepy how it knows how to do that. And at one point I was like, you know what? I've tried options before. It didn't work out for me, but this is several years later. And I was like, I knew there was money to make. And your ads were very, very informative, and that they didn't feel they felt very heartfelt, if that makes sense. They didn't feel real pushy. They didn't feel real like scammy, or if that makes sense in a way. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna reach out and set an appointment. And I think one of your ads was like message video, and I'll send you the stuff about it. So I think I messaged video and set up the appointment. And it was actually your brother who was like my onboarding call. And he was like just so genuine and so nice about it. And just he's like, look, this is what it cost. He goes, and I was very honest with him. I'm like, listen, man, like that's a lot of money. If I do this, like, what is my odds? He goes, if you follow the system and you're disciplined with the system, he goes, you'll make your money back in 3 to 4 months. And I was like, that's realistic. I can go with that, and signed up with it, and never looked back.
That's awesome. So Jerry, when you said, you were looking for a way to supplement your income,
Mhm.
so that you could, go after these bigger dreams that you had that required more money, more income.
Right.
What amount of income monthly were you looking for?
Your ads, I think, were saying, would you like to make somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 a month extra? And I'm like, well, who wouldn't want to do that? And I was thinking to myself, like, a grand a month, 2 grand a month, like that, that's a decent amount of extra income for an hour a day. Like, who can't figure that number out? And so I was looking to make somewhere between like 2 to 3 grand a month. I figured if 1 to 2 grand a month, like I figured what I knew about options, I figured it was just more about scaling and how much your portfolio was worth over time. And so yeah, long story short, that was it. So I was looking to make 2 to 3 grand a month, and I got involved with Graystone, and that completely changed quickly when I seen what it was capable of. And I'm not necessarily the smartest guy in the room, and never have claimed to be, but numbers make sense to me, and I was like, oh, there's the possibilities here endless, and it's just like
Yeah.
such a scalable opportunity with so like there's no cap on it unless you want it to be.
Totally, right. And it's amazing that it's not that as you earn more, you work more, you continue to work that hour a day, and probably even less as you study a little bit less, and it
Mhm.
just sort of runs with that 1 hour per day, and you can continue to scale your income as you said. So talk to me about those first few months and what your journey looked like upon joining the program.
Yeah, for sure. Like, so I signed up, and Joycey was my success manager, and I think Thomas was on that same group as well as that, like on that group chat that y'all signed me up on to the Telegram. And so I signed up. I went through all the instructions. I funded my Webull account, and went from there. And I think at the time, I would hop on the calls, and you were either leading it, or the other gentleman that was the lead trader was leading it, and was learning, and I wouldn't copy trades, and I set up my paper trading, and that thing just didn't work out well for me. Like, and it was nothing like I did wrong or you all did wrong. It just wasn't. It was just kind of clunky, and I would set up all my settings, and then the next day they'd be gone, or 2 days later they'd be gone. So I'm like, you know what? I watched Thomas's videos. He's like, just do a contract, like set it up like this, and do 1 or 2 contracts. It doesn't have to be like this, all of this of your account. Just learn the system. So I took his advice on it and executed it just like that. And um, I funded my account with a real basic number of 10 grand, which is a lot of money. And or for some people it's a lot of money, and for other people it's not a big deal. And um, the journey was pretty simple in the beginning. I went from 10 grand to like 17 grand, and I'm like, oh, I got this figured out. I knew what I was doing. And I added a few indicators and thought I had found my edge, and started breaking rules, and really butchered my account. I went from that 17 grand, like I think I had it there in like late September, early October timeframe, and butchered my account, made all the mistakes that a normal stupid trader would. And I think by mid-October, I was down to like a little less than 8 grand or so in my account. And I was just like banging my head against the wall. Um, and I took off like the end of October. I went on a spearfishing trip, and kind of just reflected on it the whole time. I'm like, man, I know this system works. And I just like, what am I doing wrong? So I literally just watched the whole course, like the A to Z course and all the modules, like 10 more times, and didn't take any trades and listened to the live trades every morning, and um, never said a word in the chats, and just kind of like put my head down and studied. And like, all right, I was like, the problem is not Greystone. The problem is Jerry. And I just had to wrap my head around what I was doing wrong, Andy. And and then all of a sudden one day, like I was like, okay, I'm going to take off through the holidays. I'm not going to trade. I'm just going to keep learning and listening. And January, the first week of January, I started doing my own trades, and I would listen in the background. And if I liked the key levels that were marked, and I would take my trades. And if I didn't like them, I wasn't copying trades. I was just kind of listening in the background and making sure I had my head wrapped around what I was supposed to do. And I just kept it really simple, and the account started multiplying really fast. And then, by the end of January, early parts of February, I wasn't using 10% of my account anymore. I was using, 15 to 20%. And then by the end of February, I was scaled my account up to 25 to 30%. And I would scale my account like on every 2 to 3 days. I wasn't scaling it daily or weekly. I was just scaling it like every 2 to 3 days. Money would settle in, and I would adjust my Turbo Trader settings and kept on rolling it, man. So the journey was pretty quick and it was pretty aggressive, but once I had wrapped my head around it, it all just made sense to me.
Amazing. So
So,
that period where you went back to the foundations of what we teach in
mhm.
upon reflecting, and then you had this period of scaling quickly, and your income and your profit increasing month over month. What did that period of time do for you personally, and what were the tangible changes in your life that you could identify uh, early on in that phase, and then now to where you are today?
Sure. So, like a lot of it, and this sounds kind of ironic, a lot of it was like, for most things that would go wrong in my life, and we all have our highs and lows, and we don't know what everyone's going through in their personal life. But the one thing that was in common with everything that was necessarily, maybe not necessarily bad or unfortunate, but the one thing that was in common was my decisions, right? And whether that was, if I stayed up too late, or if I had one or two beers or something like that, then I wouldn't wake up to go to the gym. So I was everything that I was wanting to do and not achieving the goal. The only thing that was in common was me in the way of myself. So yeah, come January, I just started with a fresh slate. I'm like, if I can hold true to myself and put discipline in other parts of my life, then it'll flow into everything, and it really
Wow.
has. So it's been working pretty well since then. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah, tell me more. I know you've talked about uh, retiring your family. Uh, Tell
Yeah,
me about.
so I've grown the account very, very aggressively, very quickly, to a point to where your brother made the comment when he was onboarding me. He's like, "Listen, as long as you're aware this isn't get rich quick," and I'm like, "I'm well aware of that, but I will restate what he has said, and I do think you can get rich fast
Mm,
because, and I'm not rich by any means, health wise and family and friend wise I am, but money wise I'm not in the scheme of numbers. But since January, an $8,000 account as of this weekend, I'm having a little bit of a down week. I'm plus 100K in my account now.
wow.
So, which is, I don't know of anything else that scales that way, Andy. So
Yeah.
uh, and I've added money in several times on my own, and I've withdrew money a few times to go do things and whatever. But I've been as loyal as I can to funneling money into that account and making it bigger and better. So my initial goals were, 2 to 3 grand a month for some spearfishing and diving and having fun, and that has quickly changed to my parents don't have to worry about money anymore, and my family and friends, when I want to go do something, and it's not a big deal to pick the restaurant, and if they can't afford it, I can. So that part has drastically changed in my life, which is really cool.
That's incredible.
So yeah, I'm not quite as aggressive as some of the other traders and some of your other students in here, and I'm well aware of that. But like the last like 3 months, and they haven't been bad months. They're all green, but I haven't had those consistent flows of trades, and I'm still up. I think my June I was up 22K. My July I was up like 19K, and then my August was like another 17K or so. So yeah, pretty consistent flow of money.
Yeah,
So
amazing.
super happy with that with an hour,
Yeah.
hour and a half a morning.
Yeah, and what an incredible feeling it is to take care of your loved ones. You
Sure.
said for your parents, I'm sure that's incredibly meaningful. Um, and then you talked initially about this goal to have this retreat that required a big infusion of capital, right? Is that still something that's on your horizon?
That is something that's on my horizon. I paid my land share completely now, and I don't know when I'm going to start building on it. But things in Africa are way different, and I do need to spend some time there to make that happen. But um, from a capital standpoint, there's no more like how will I make this work? It's just when I'm going to do it. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah, I ended up buying one extra share of it with the intentions that I don't have any use for 2,400 acres in my life, but at some point I'll have a friend who wants to be a part of it, and I'll have it for him at the same cost that I bought it.
yeah,
So
amazing.
yeah, it's pretty rad.
Yeah. What would you say is the best part about having this income stream that's so lucrative uh and making such a big difference in your life financially? Is it the fact that it's an hour per day and you can still focus on running your business and going spearfishing and doing all of these other things? Is it being able to take care of your family? Is it being able to do it remotely? What about it to you is so special?
I think mostly everything you just touched on it. I think to me the special parts of it are is I can do it from anywhere with a device or two. So that part is extremely valuable. So I'm not anchored down to an office or to my dive shop, which is immensely helpful. Um, and the 1 to 1.5 hours a day is super amazing that you can accomplish that with a little tiny bit of time in your life. And but most importantly to me is what I love about it the most is it's not you're never capped out. So it's never that situation where you can only make this number in that 1 hour a day. It's literally as disciplined as you are and as much capital as you can financially leave in there is to allow it to keep compounding and growing. So for me, the first two are super amazing, but I can't think of anything else that will give me a daily pay raise for the same amount of work.
Right.
So that part I absolutely love.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
That's
know, and
awesome, man.
so that part to me is like the biggest thing. It's like, okay, like let me get this straight. I had 3 good days in a row, and now I get a pay raise for doing the exact same thing. So that's
Right.
fantastic. I love that part.
Right. You're getting paid on your value and how good you are at this skill, not what someone else is determining how much you're
Correct.
worth, or having to deal even in business, right?
Mhm.
It's not that someone else is deciding for you, but there's so many variables, many of which are completely out of your control. Um, right? And in business, there's so many skills, right? You need to learn
Mhm.
marketing, sales, customer success, finance, operations, all of these different things. Where with this, it's learning one skill and learning it well, but also relying on the risk management system to do most of the legwork and the hard work for most people for you.
Yeah, 100%. And my hat's off to you. Your system is very simple and it's very easy to follow, in my opinion. The key levels, the technical analysis, it's real easy to find. The risk management, it's easy to find. If there's something that can be hard, it's like how well the system works and how it can be like a bit addictive to overtrade and take more setups when you see it and to know when to just to shut down trading view and walk away from it. But that's something that is everyone's probably own demons.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've done a really good job of like mastering that emotion and to walk away from something when it's already been a great day, or just risk management's worked and I didn't get a good setup.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that part is some of the stuff that's in the class and the course and the teaching, it's really flowed into my other parts of my life in a very positive, impactful way, which has been great.
That's amazing. Yeah,
So
it's just discipline and that transfers to every aspect of your life. It seems like that for you was the most powerful thing that allowed you to start breaking through and doing extremely well. Um, was
yeah.
what was staying true to the rules and the system, and you do such a good job of just staying consistent and true to the rules.
Yeah. And I feel like it's a real slippery slope, and I don't really have like another like way to put it, but I know several people over the years that's ended up in like Alcoholics Anonymous or NA. They've like had substance abuse, and if you break the rule in trading, then it's a real slippery slope, and you break it in other parts of your life, and that's when it just cascades into bad things. So if you can just follow your system and be true to yourself, damn, it works.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Jerry, what would you say to either yourself when you were sort of on the fence about moving forward with this opportunity, or anyone else who's watching this who's in a similar spot of considering whether or not they should take action to change their life?
Sure. So I think that anybody who would be on the fence about it, and myself in the beginning who was on the fence about it, like I think all and everyone, and I don't really try to speak for other people, so keep that in mind. But I think that if there's something I could have said to myself, or there's something I could say to anybody else in this scenario, is most people in America will live a 9 to 5 job and a day-to-day job, right? So if you have that in your mind, but something deep in your gut, something deep in your soul, deep in your heart knows there's a way to make more money for yourself, and the only thing holding you back is yourself. So if you can figure out how to get out of your own way, you will absolutely make it work. So, and
Amazing.
I know that's a lot easier said than done, but from a risk standpoint, like, ships are perfectly safe in a harbor, but they weren't built to be in a harbor. So get out of your comfort zone and try it. I mean, there's so many success stories from your course and what you built, Andy. Like, the only person stopping you from being the next 5% of the traders is yourself.
Yeah, incredible. It's
Yeah.
it's so true, and uh, I think overall people will get a tremendous amount of value out of this conversation. So Jerry, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Yeah, of course.
And as always, it's a pleasure, my man.
Yeah, my man, Andy. Thank you so much for making the system and all the opportunity you created for us.
You got it, brother.
Cool, man.